And I think striving for happiness and striving for personal fulfillment is the most important thing in life, because you have only that one. You have only those years that are given to you.
Righty. So good morning. Thank you everyone for joining for Kanana Talk Show. Today we have a really special guest, Timo. Timo actually traveled 53 countries with his young age. I can't believe that it's crazy number, to be honest. I really, as I already told him that I really waited to see or to actually see him and meet him today and actually hear the story. So Timo, yeah, without further talking, because I like to talk a lot, as you probably everybody know. Timo, nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for having me.
So, Timo, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about the experience in general, traveling 53 countries, which is amazing. And of course, the latest kind of change that you're doing in your life, moving as a digital nomad and actually starting to work fully online. Quit the 5 to 9, most amazing, the 9 to 5, sorry. Most amazing move, I can tell. Please tell us.
Yeah, of course. It's a pleasure. Yeah, well, honestly, I always loved traveling. I think I kind of got that virus, so to say, of traveling and to go to new countries from my parents. We were always traveling as children already, so I have to add that those 53 countries are really like my total countries covered in my whole life. So already as a, I don't know, youngster, I was traveling with my parents mainly, well, back then, mainly in Europe, in our caravan, sailing also on rented yachts. My father is a sailor. I do have my licenses as well. I'm lacking a bit the experience, but I do have the licenses.
Nice.
um, yeah, so I kind of always loved traveling. I got infected with that virus, and my first big trip I did during my studies, I went for almost 9 months to Brazil to do an internship there. I interrupted my studies for that and said, okay, I want to go somewhere abroad, but I don't want to study there. I want to do something that is, yeah, like paying into my career, and that was doing an internship as a software developer. I have to say I fell in love with South America. So that happened in that time, even though I was back then only in Brazil and like just hopping over to Argentina once. But I fell in love and I was like feeling, okay, I want to see more of that continent. And then after finishing my studies, I said, okay, let's get the backpack and do some backpacking in Peru on the other side, like on the west coast of South America, and I went to Peru with a friend. I went to Bolivia. I went into Chile, a little bit Argentina, even Uruguay, and then again to Brazil. So that was basically 2 months all in all traveling there. And that was like the second time I got infected by that backpacking style, just moving around freely, don't plan anything, just, I don't know, continue whenever you feel like continuing. So yeah, that basically continued. I went to Costa Rica. I went again to Chile and Argentina between two jobs. I was still full employed by that time. After my studies, I of course went into a normal job as a software
Wow.
developer. But I had changes of jobs, quit
Yeah.
one, and then I had some months, well, 2 months left, like in between in a break. So I went to Chile and Argentina. I went all the way down to Patagonia, to Tierra del Fuego, which was super amazing. That was one of the most amazing places in the world. And yeah, eventually, that was 2012. I met my today's wife.
Oh.
She's Peruvian, originally Peruvian. I met her. I didn't meet her in Peru. I met her in Germany, actually. That's what most people always think. Like, we met
That's
her in
funny.
Peru and brought
Yeah.
her over. That's not the case. So and I basically infected her with the travel virus as well and took her to Indonesia. We went to Sri
Wow.
Lanka. We went to Peru, of her home country. We went to Canada together, Southeast Asia. So we did a lot. I, and by that time, I kind of moved a bit away from the backpacking style and said, okay, let's go by rental cars, which I totally enjoy because then you have the freedom plus the possibility to move around easily. And I did an amazing road trip on my own in Canada 2018, 5 weeks road trip, like
Wow.
all in the remote. That was amazing, sleeping in the car even.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's basically what I did in traveling while still being full employed. And in this employment, I was always asking myself, I mean, why do I have to stay in offices? Why do I have to go there? We are
Oh
working
my God.
online, we are having
I'm
online
with you.
meetings.
I'm with you. Exactly.
Exactly. So I quite early started with that idea of asking for more home office with, well, I'd say limited or no success actually back then, because it was simply, I think the whole office culture, company cultures, especially in Germany, was not really prepared for that yet. And I was then later like the one that was talking about even giving talks or blog entries in the companies, talking about remote work, like work wherever you want. And the people were always laughing at me, were like saying, okay, I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. That won't
Yeah,
work.
you're dreaming. You're dreaming, buddy.
I was
Yeah.
dreaming, and then we had COVID. Now, then we had COVID, and we were all in the home office. So apparently, it became more popular. It became possible. The companies adapted to it, and with all those changes and with all those experiences that I got, I eventually decided in the middle of COVID, some people would call me crazy, to quit my job and became a freelancer, right? So I started my self-employment, did basically the same job as before, but it gave me a lot more freedom because now I was kind of legally able to choose where I work from. They can't dictate you anymore. And yeah, with that, with the time, I became interested in this whole phenomenon of digital nomading and what is it about? What does it mean? I was dreaming of road trips in a camper, maybe even in an expedition vehicle. That was always my dream. I read a lot of blogs, I followed YouTube channels, I followed podcasts about that lifestyle and so on. But honestly, before COVID, that was always dreaming. That was
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a German. I'm a traditional German, I would say. I was raised with that idea of, yeah, you settle down, you get children, you build a house, you have a
Yeah.
like a mortgage,
Career. Yeah.
like this. So the typical, yeah, life. And when COVID came, that was actually the major impact to me that it showed me there's another life, there's another possibility. There's this nomading and it becomes more popular. It's not a movement of some hippies that don't want to work or something,
Hmm.
and spend their time on the beaches, but it's actually a real phenomenon. It works, right? And even when like public TV stations in Germany started to report about it, I was like saying, wow, okay, it's arrived in public. It's like it's
It's
there, it's
starting.
accepted,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, with my freelancing, that dream was back. I was like feeling, okay, you are free to go. Apart from the fact that I was married by that time already, and that my wife didn't want to join that lifestyle because she wanted to work like fixed in a hospital, and so that led to kind of some problems, of course, and that is now currently my state that I'm considering if is that compatible or should I really go for that dream because it is a dream and my dream is really to live that life. I don't say I want to live it forever, but I want to live it now. And
You want to
fun fact
experience.
is, you said this young guy. I'm already 40, so I don't consider myself that young anymore. But I feel like
40 years young. Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, that's good to know.
I take it. I take it.
Yeah, so
Um,
I really want to live that, and I am simply, even though I'm 40, that's what I always think, I'm not prepared for that standard life yet, honestly. I would just like explore, go out there, and combine that with that working lifestyle of a nomad, right?
Before you do that, you don't actually get the holding or the idea fully. Like, what is the benefits and what is even the disadvantage as well? Of course, that being a nomad, it's not easy. And taking such an a lot of people would say like crazy step. Okay. For example, like I spoke with my uncle before we came here to Guatemala. He is living in Mexico for, I think, 40 years now, something like that. It's like, what are you doing? You have a career, you have your agency, everything is working well. And why are you doing this such idiotic move? And I'm like, okay, I'm actually not doing anything. I'm just living one place. Now I moved to another place and I'm doing literally the same thing in different hours. That's it. This is the only thing
Exactly.
that changed. Now before that, even though that I had like my agency, for 3 years working online completely, no strains, only clients and stuff like that. And same thing that you experience right now. I still live kind of in the same place. I didn't move. I didn't like went to a new kind of journey or because it was like really scary to do that. It's
Yeah,
really, I think the first part or taking the step is like the hardest part. And after that, you kind of getting into it,
yeah,
After that, you're just moving around and you start to feel it. Um, this is my kind of personal experience, and it really related to what you're saying to your, idea of I thought it's like, EP kind of EPGP kind of thing that
Yeah.
nobody actually just traveling backpacking. And yeah, I did it in my 20s. No worries. I mean it's fun and everything, but I don't
Yeah.
see myself backpacking, fully backpacking with my, job and everything and my agency and all of my responsibilities. Now, when you think about it, I'm like, a lot of the people, tell me, okay, you have like your 20 backpacking trip all over again. You're starting like you're doing it again. I'm like, no, I'm in like really different kind of environment. I'm chilled, I'm more relaxed, I'm kind
totally.
Yeah.
of,
Yeah,
yeah,
totally,
I
totally.
went
Yes.
from you know yeah, so I really love your like what you're saying. I really
Yeah.
getting like really related to it. Let me ask you a couple of hard questions, okay, tricky
Of course,
questions.
of course.
53 countries. And I know it's in different situations, different times in your life. If you would imagine where you're standing right now, which you already took the step, and it's less scary after you're taking the step. Which is the country that you gonna see yourself like coming back to the next couple of years for sure, no matter what, you're gonna be there and experience yourself like living not as a backpacker, but as actually nomad or expat for a long term.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just right back today from a 2.5 month stay in South
Cape
Africa.
Town.
So I just
Yeah.
arrived this morning back to Germany. I fell absolutely in love with that country and especially the city of Cape Town. It is just amazing. It is like it offers you a variety of everything. So I could definitely imagine to live there for as long as the visa permits, which is not that long. It's 3 months. So it can be extended. Maybe it can be half a year, but not always. That could definitely be an option. But honestly, on my trips, I have been to a couple of countries that I would think that would be possible. Even Bali would be possible. I want to go back to Bali. I did not see that much, honestly, on our trip because we had limited time. Again, this vacation thing, it was 4 or 5 weeks, but we were mainly on Java and then hopped over to Bali and had like, I don't know, 2 weeks on Bali, which is way too
It's
last.
not enough. Yeah, not enough.
Um, so I mean, there's a lot of countries. I love Canada, definitely. I bought this summer, I bought a camper van, which is still based in Germany. So I want to go with that camper van. I did already like work from there. I want to explore the Scandinavian countries this summer. I'm not sure if I would like want to live there, but with a camper van, it would be great. I would even have that camper van shipped somewhere, maybe Canada, road trip to Canada or through Canada and the US. That would be super great. So I can imagine a lot of countries, and I would actually see it the way, let's just stay as long as the visa permits and as long as you want to stay. I mean, staying longer doesn't necessarily mean I have to stay there for half a year. I can move on after 3 months if I say that's sufficient for me. If not, then I just try to extend it, or I move out, do a visa run, and come back. Yeah, I would say there's a lot of options, and I would just go with the flow. And that is actually the thing that I mainly learned and that I enjoyed that much. Maybe I have to add that, I had a kind of steep jump, but also soft jump into this nomadism. I attended the Berlin conference about digital nomads, digital nomad conference. And I just attended now in November the Nomad based community live event in Cape Town. That's the way how I ended up in Cape Town. And
Mm-hmm.
this community is amazing. It is just amazing. And to
Beauty.
kind of connect to what you just said, is not hippies. It's people that have a profound business, that are even way more successful than I am with their business, and they still travel the world. And they are people that reflect a lot, that are mentally really on a high level, that are in a personal development on a high level because they have seen so much, right? And they have experienced so much, and they have to be
Mm-hmm.
organized and things like that. So I think that is a thing that we should not forget, that this nomading asks you for a lot, and that's why you can become, yeah, so to say, a better person regarding to personal development, right?
Absolutely. I can feel it right now even, because just a matter of break free from your day-to-day reality kind of thing, that it'll leave you more open to like see different point of views or think about, even, my childhood and the things that I grew up with. Always when you're like in different country or exploring, or your mind is kind of open up to a lot of, different things. So I think it's like huge part of it, and like I guess in our way of living, like as a nomad, you can afford yourself. Like you
Yeah,
can afford yourself to take the minute and I don't know, start to practice meditation or mindfulness on, take a step to in order to get like new different kind of things as your personality grow. Because I think it started for me from the place that, look, this is your life. I mean, there's
yeah,
nothing else.
yeah,
You don't need to do something else. You don't need to run to an office and actually work 9 to 5 in order to get food to the table. You actually have everything that you're doing right now. You have everything that you need. Go ahead and explore. Go ahead and live, you know? Um, so yeah, this is like a big part of me, but I want to come back for a second, if you don't mind, to Nomad Base. Really
mhm.
curious to hear your experience of it over there. Like, how was it? Tell us a little bit about what's going on over there.
It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. It was for me, even I would say it was a transforming experience that kicked in a transformation in myself, in my like whole situation that I'm currently in, with this whole separation and thing going on. The most amazing thing I felt, like, I would consider myself an introvert. So I'm not really a person that can go that easily into those such things, events or something like that, and talk to foreign people. But the way they welcomed you, and the way they kind of gave you a soft start into that community, was so amazing. They welcomed you from the day one on, from the first minute on. You were part of them, and it was a warm welcome, and you felt comfortable. You were asked questions. The whole discussions that I had, I mean, the first encounters that I had, of course, there's always like this question: who are you, where are you from, why are you here, right? And then in my current situation, of course, it's quite fast, go quickly that you have to say why I'm here. I mean, why I'm here because I'm going through a separation. But do you want to share that with a foreign person that you just knew? And I was really scared on that. And then after telling a little bit, the reaction was so welcoming that I felt totally comfortable to share my story. And then it felt even better because then it was authentic. And then you got that authentic feedback that the people were not judging you at all. They are not at all judging. So they would say, yeah, well, that's life. That's life what you're experiencing. And look, I had similar experiences, or I went through that past a couple of years ago and I solved it this and that way, you know. And that is true with personal development, but it's also true with business development on that conference. So there's a lot of talks about challenges that you encounter in your developing your business, and they take you for serious, even if you're a starter, even if you're a newbie, even if you're a beginner, they take you for serious and they talk to you. And it happened to me. I was talking to a guy, and it turned out that this guy is like consulting the largest companies in the US for personal development. I was like, oh, okay, shoot, I just talked to them, you know, to him like as it was a friend, you know. So and it was just amazing. That's
Wow,
absolutely amazing.
amazing. Just a quick question about that then, being said that you had a lot of, most of you experienced a lot of problems, especially that's a nomad community talking. I was curious, what's the hardest challenge you've encountered that, made you think twice or made you like doubt continuing your dream being a digital nomad?
I mean, the biggest challenge is still, I'm not completely done with that process yet, is literally that is what I realized already is that my relationship as my marriage is probably coming to an end if I continue that. It's most likely the way.
Yeah.
So realizing that on the one hand, but emotionally getting it are two different things.
Yeah.
I realize it from the logical perspective. I do not want it from the emotional perspective yet. But on the other hand, I want that life. And I think striving for happiness and striving for personal fulfillment is the most important thing in life because you have only that one. You have only those years that are given to you. And I would say this is the greatest challenge to see, to say, okay, to make an exception now or down the road in the next months or years, not knowing what it would mean for the future. You maybe give up your marriage, but do you get more? Currently, you think maybe yes, but you don't know, right? You
Yeah.
always have to make decisions without knowing
Exactly.
the whole information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for sharing. I know like each like personal kind of things that related to, I don't know how to even call it, changing the way you're actually wired, right? So
Yeah,
we're kind of wired all our life to live in the same kind of tune or do the same thing, go to work, get married, have
Yeah.
kids, settle down. So of course this is really important. Like this is the things that are important, but I think a lot of nomads deal it in a lot of different levels. So I felt that with my family because obviously I have grandparents that are getting older and you don't know like what's going on. Are you going like for 2, 3 years now, like I did few years ago? And what's gonna happen? You know, am I missing? There's like weddings and children in the families that I'm not gonna
Right.
be there as the
Yeah.
uncle or whatever it is to,
Mm.
to experience it. But as you said, it's like really kind of the scale of, wow, it's hard to say that even,
Yeah.
this is always the emotional part, I think, in a lot of the conversation that we're having. Um, like giving up or just let go
Mhm.
everything that you know so far in order to get to a new experience or to get to a new way. It's really make you kind of make it transform of I call it a new life. It's kind of full on new life. The life that I had in Australia and then back home and then that I having right now, totally different thing. Like it's a totally different mindset, totally different like kind of energy or motivation in your body. That I personally can say, I mean, really like with heavy heart. I had to make it. Like I had to
Yeah.
make the change, the turn to just yeah, I had like something really comfortable, something really good, but I
Let's
want to
let go of
experience.
that.
I know there's
Yeah.
like more,
Absolutely. Yeah.
more to experience, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's this saying, you are the average of the five people that are around you.
Mhm.
And that's why I think even as a nomad, it's more important than as a yeah, in a usual life is having that community. Because that's what I also like felt in the Nomad Base live event. If you are there with 250 people that just do it, and they kind of inspire you, right? They influence you. Um, your friends at home, they do as well, but they maybe are living the standard life. So they influence you with that. And they can't help you with that step out there to change something. The community of nomads, they can because they did it, right?
Mhm.
And they are
The
there to support you.
experience. Yep.
And that's even for me as an introvert that actually takes his energy from being alone. And I absolutely do that. I definitely. Um, I need the community to get the stabilization of my step into it, right? So that's why it's super important.
Yeah, I agree
Love
with
it.
that.
Love it. I
Amazing.
totally agree. All right. Let's talk about Cape Town as like a place to be a nomad in. How is it to be in, a nomad over there? How is the internet? How is like
Yeah.
I don't know, the change of the culture even, I right now experience like really bad. Yeah, I'm sorry to say that. Like for me, it's really like really hard because we are in San Pedro Atitlan, beautiful, most amazing place, but it's like coming back to the 70s. It took me like maybe a month, a good old month, to get into the culture
Settle.
and get into the vibe. Yeah, everything like changed. I was like everything much open for me, and I see the things like in much different ways. But I want to hear you about Cape Town, like how you experienced it.
Yeah.
How is it to be like a digital nomad in Cape Town?
I would say it's probably one of the best cities in the world to be a digital nomad. I mean, of course, I also had that weird picture of South Africa. I mean, we all think of Africa like the bushes and like there's crime everywhere, and and I mean, it is, yes, it is not like Europe. It's not the safest place. Definitely, I've heard stories of people being robbed and whatever on the open street in the middle of the day. I have to say, I felt more safe there than in Latin America. Of course, you have to say Cape Town, especially Cape Town, and then that district I have been living in mainly is a bubble. That is not Africa. That's for sure not Africa. That's why it's also for all you asked about infrastructure, internet, things like that. It's super perfect. There's one annoying thing that they have recently that's called load shedding. So they disable the power supply for a couple of hours per day, and that is like rotating. So it can be in the middle of your business hours. You have to find solutions for that. I solved it by technology. I mean, I got a battery for my Wi-Fi and backed it up. So I just had the Wi-Fi running and I was working in the dark. I mean, it doesn't matter. At least I have Wi-Fi.
That's why I have
um,
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
exactly. That's the most important thing as a nomad, right? No, I mean, but apart from that load shedding thing, the infrastructure is just perfect, especially in Cape Town. You can move around by Uber. You have really good streets. You have a lot of Airbnb renting. You have the ocean right there. You have the nature, like a hop out of the city. So you don't even have to travel somewhere to do your after work trip or whatever hiking thing. There is a huge nomad scene, even apart from Nomad Base. I mean, we were ruling the city, of course, in that week. But then afterwards, there was a huge community of digital nomads that were flocking in. Like that was super active. We had a WhatsApp group that was organizing the whole thing. Um, and there's a lot of cultural activities going on. It's not necessarily the African cultural thing. So you can do salsa classes there. You can do, I don't know, go for really super interesting restaurants. You can go for shows. You have concerts. You have everything there. And I would say that makes it a really lovely place because to connect to what I said in the beginning, I had to shift, even though I knew it because people said, hey, Cape Town is not that Africa that you have in mind. And I have to admit that now. It is almost US style, I would say, from the infrastructure, streets and things. And so it is perfect. It is really perfect. The safety thing is maybe one thing you have to deal with, but I mean, don't move around at night, take an Uber, and then you're fine.
Almost everywhere.
I mean, nowadays, like, yeah, exactly. Nowadays, it's like anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Exactly.
I don't think there's like one safe place in the world anymore.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true, man.
okay, let me ask you a little bit more about Cape Town. First of all, about your research. I mean, did you look for Nomad base and then you decided to move and take the experience of 3 months, or you like kind of target Cape Town and look what community there are there and found them?
You know, I went to the Digital Nomad conference in Berlin, the German one, in May 2022, May last year, and there were a couple of people that were saying, "Oh, we are just coming from Nomad Base live event Croatia," and I said, "Okay, Nomad Base, what is that?" I googled it, and then on the first hint on the website, I saw, "Wow, there's a conference in November in Cape Town. You have not been in the south part of Africa. You have never been to Cape Town, and there is a Nomad conference. I think I'm in." And then there was even shortly after they said as a side program they would do a safari. I was like, I never did a safari, so where do I have to sign up? You know, I mean, that was the best
That's
advertisement.
fantastic. Oh my God.
So no,
That's
I did
amazing.
not research Cape Town. I did not even take Cape Town into account for traveling. Honestly,
Nothing. Just
I would
jump
even
into
say
it.
honestly, and that felt even like that. I was a bit afraid of South Africa,
Oh
even
yeah.
though I traveled almost all countries in South America, which I think is comparingly
Yep.
unsafe. I was like, and when I was on the plane and the plane was landing there in Cape Town, I was like, okay, wow, you are here. You have to get out now. You have to get out of the airport, of the safe space of the airport, and find your way to that hotel. And this is a new continent. It's a new place. It's like, how does that work, you know? But it turned out to be the same thing as everywhere. Be
Beauty.
like attentional, be open to it, and just jump into.
Yep. Beautiful. I mean, I, wow, bro, it's amazing that spontaneous kind of it's amazing. I think that this is something the things that you experience over there, like with the safety part. I think it's like a lot of people having it in a lot of different ways. I experienced over here in Mexico and Guatemala for like, wow, I was so intense. Like I'm traveling obviously with my fiance right now. So like I hold her hand. No, we are not moving. I mean, until safety, until the house, you're when you understand like the differences of the stories that people telling because they heard about something, and it's kind of like a snowball that's moving around. Guatemala like changed in the past 10 years completely. Yes, the city is not safe. Of course, like part of it are not safe. Part of it are really, you know, we walked over there. We didn't feel anything. I walked my dog and going around in like midnight, and you don't feel nothing. You see police officers. Everybody's so nice. Good morning, good evening. Nothing. You don't actually feel it. So I think it's kind of I don't know myth and kind of travel stories that people telling. That maybe the locals gonna feel it like much more than us, let's say. Because anyway, we're sitting like most of our day like on the computer or whatever in bed or in like coffee shop or in your house. You're not experienced that much of I don't know the hardest or the black bad places, etc., etc., etc. This is like
Yeah,
kind of my
yeah,
realization from here.
that is totally true. I mean, you have the option to do to explore that part of life there. I went, for example, on a guided tour to Kailicha, which is the largest township there. I did the same thing back then in Brazil in Rio de Janeiro. But to Rocinha. But and I think this is also essential when traveling to see the other part. And this is maybe one thing that is really in South Africa really super, super present. I did a self-driving tour for 12 days now in the end along the Garden Road. So I rented a car and was just driving on my own. That's actually the part where I also can connect to that introvert thing, because I said I need my me time, and that was super nice. I took that much out of that time, just sitting in on the ocean, writing my journal, and But in that part, South Africa is super polarizing. I mean, you are passing super villas that are protected by I don't know how many security guides, that are fenced, that are electro fenced even, and then you drive 5 minutes, and then there's the next township. So it follows like in minutes of distance of driving, and I've never had that way in any country so far.
I'm totally
Yeah.
with you. Um, Keep going and talk about Cape Town because it's really interesting, really drill down over there, like what you actually, how is your day to day, what to do over there, some of the, tips after been there 3 months. I'm sure that you have like travel hacks and tips that you can share with the audience over here. Or we can go back to any other country that you actually want to talk about from your experience. I think if is it safe to say that Cape Town was your biggest experience as a nomad?
Yeah, it was the first experience as a nomad, definitely. I mean, all the others were always like vacation traveling,
Yeah.
even though it was a little bit longer than vacations, because I took unpaid vacations, or I even like saved vacation days and then used them for in 1 year. And I was traveling like I was traveling Argentina and Chile for 2 months. I was traveling Southeast Asia for 2 months. Of course, an essential thing, once you have to work, the whole thing changes, right? Because then suddenly you don't have the whole day available anymore, um, depending on the time zone, which can also be a challenge. But in South Africa, for example, I did not have basically nothing of the day, because it's the same time zone as in Europe. So I had maybe 2 hours and in the end of the day. But honestly, that was already a privilege. But because in Germany it was dark at 4 p.m., right? And I was working until locally until 6, and still had 2 hours sunshine and could see the sunset every day. Still then it is possible to explore something. I was going on hikes like in the morning. I got up at 6, did a hike until 8, got a shower, started working at 9, which was 8 in Europe. So totally great. You can
Wow.
combine that. And I would say, yeah, this is my first experience. So that's why I cannot really share anything as a nomad for another country. But I can imagine that if you take advantage of those time zone shifts,
Yeah.
then there are so many nice locations that you can make use for you and work for you. And well,
Oh,
what is better than that?
that's amazing, Timo.
Absolutely.
Knowing that you get to change your routine when you're in different country, um can you say that you could be a different person when you're on another country or another place, especially when you travel? Is that a factor of why you also want to continue on being a digital nomad and travel from different places?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have always been, and this was even reflected by friends with whom I was traveling, and
Yeah.
even my wife. I have always been another person on vacation traveling. Always. I have been much easier. I have been much more relaxed, much more accepting that it doesn't work like I'm used to the things work as a German. Now with that nomad experience, I mean, I was just working those 2 months. I was working 3 weeks. Then my project came to an end, and I have a new one now. If you take that more being more relaxed, that means that you're also more relaxed in your work time,
Yeah.
right? Because it's the whole thing. You change as a person in that situation.
Yes.
So I
Absolutely.
think this gives you a lot of strength
Yeah.
for getting your work done as well.
It improves
So,
a lifestyle in a way as well.
Yeah. So that's exactly the point. It is not only and this, I think this is essential. It is not only combining vacation with working like a
Yeah.
workation,
Yes.
but it's like it. I mean, there is 25 degrees out there. There is blue sky. There is sunshine. I can definitely work better than I could in back in Germany in November, December, where it's gray and snowing and cold, and I mean,
in an offers, yep. Wow. Love the input. Love the input. Getting into the time differences, because for me it's a real struggle. I really feel it. But the good thing that I think like the flexibility that in the process of like choosing your own hours, etc., etc. Obviously, like business owner, solopreneur, or anyone that actually feeling it, okay, and handling clients and everything. I personally changed my day completely. So my team meets me in their morning, their evening, and my day is kind of split up. And so I'm waking up really early, watching the sun, like the sun rise, getting into work few hours. Then I have like all of the afternoon free. So I'm going to the lagoon. I'm going like traveling. I'm going to drinking coffee, even drinking a beer if it's like if I don't have meeting in the evening, all Gucci, all nice. And in the evening, I have like another sessions with the team. Yeah, as you mentioned, like being relaxed and be kind of okay. Let's be open. Okay, you don't need to work straight up 9 hours a day. You can split it to 3 hours here, 4 hours there, and kind of have a routine as long as you stay productive, as long as it's like taking you back for for the past couple of weeks, I really, really, really like sat into it, and the girls can actually like Laura can tell you over here. I was really on it. I didn't miss any meeting. I put it to
Yeah.
myself as like, no matter what, I'm not missing any meeting. I'm not gonna cancel. If someone's gonna cancel, no worries. I'm not canceling anything. I have like a full-time work, and I want to prove that I can handle 3, 4 hours in the morning, 3, 4 hours in the evening, and I'm good to go. And it's actually working for me. It's working really amazing. I feel like much more energetic. As you can see and
Yeah,
hear,
we
I'm
can
really
feel it then.
energetic all the time. But yeah,
I
um,
honestly I envy you for that because that's my greatest challenge that I still have as a freelancer in software development. Honestly, this is the super challenge because we are tightly integrated, at least in the German market, into the clients' teams. So I'm tightly working with them, even if I should not because of legal issues, but I do. So I still have to work 9 to 5 in German hours.
Yeah.
So
mhm.
I cannot just split it like you do. I envy you for that totally. I want to reach that point. Definitely. I want to like educate my client and say, okay, look, it doesn't matter when I do it, it just has to be done. That is a mindset that is not yet there. So, but what I did basically, I had the offer of a friend to visit him in Los Angeles, which
Wow.
is 9, 10 hours, 10 hours time shift to
Yeah.
Germany, right?
Yes,
And I
it's
was
Yeah.
almost.
like, as a German, that was my first thing. Oh, that's 10 hours. Sorry, guy, I can't do that. And then I was like saying, wait, why not?
Why not?
Why should I not
Exactly.
just do it and try it? And I did it, and I worked from midnight to 9 in the morning, had the day, and told my friend I have to be in bed by 4 p.m. So I went every day literally to bed at 4 p.m. to get up at midnight again. And it turned out, yes, it was stressful. Yes, it was not that easy, especially when we went on trips on the weekend and then you got out of your schedule, right, of your routine. But during the week, it was possible. So with discipline, and even though I had to work those 9 hours or 8 hours in a row in a kind of
Mhm.
in one chunk, I had way more time during the day. I had from 9 in the morning
Yeah.
until 4 p.m. to explore Los Angeles.
Um, Discipline. Discipline. It's a really important thing.
Yeah.
Tell us how you kept yourself like how you maintain an iron fist on everything that regard to the work life balance.
I mean, I am an organized person. I'm in German, so anyways, I am an organized person. So jumping into freelancing was for me not really that hard. I might even be a little bit too perfectionist. That's sometimes a little bit of a problem because then I do the things takes much longer than it should take. But I think I managed that quite well, and so nothing changed that much for me. And when I went to LA, for example, that was a proof to myself that I can be that strongly organized, that I can say, okay, I go to bed at 4 p.m. because I know I have to get up at midnight again. And it turned that it works, and it turned that I can do it, and that I am sufficiently organized. So I would say yes, this is definitely a crucial thing to do. But I mean, honestly, it's already if you're a freelancer, if you run
Yeah.
your own business. And even if you stay home, if you run your own business, you have to be organized, because nobody tells you when to do your taxation. Nobody tells you when to do your client's work, when to call the client, when to do the invoicing, blah, blah. You have to do that. So it doesn't change that much.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is totally true. I mean, like, what is the difference? Back home, I get like maybe every couple of days, I get like a drop in the internet or electricity or something happen, or I don't know, stuff like that. So why is so urgent, like, to judge a place as a digital nomad, right? We're judging places by the internet. So yes, Guatemala has suckish internet. I'm not gonna lie, it is suckish, but it's still like I'm working with it. It's all good. Like there's not much of a difference. Um, Experience the same thing in back home. You know, you have to have the backup, like working online and not necessarily like being a nomad. You know, just as
Exactly.
Yeah.
handle
Exactly.
yourself online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we had that experience with COVID, everyone went to the home office. And I mean, honestly, in Germany, yeah, we are a developed country, blah, blah, but we have the worst internet. We have the worst mobile coverage, probably in a lot of countries in Europe. And honestly, the mobile network in South Africa was definitely much more better than in Germany.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it doesn't mean that that it's more complicated somewhere else. You have to do your homework, of course. I mean, I would never travel. For example, maybe that can be a hint. I would never travel to a country like, let's say, on Sunday, and then start the next call on Monday. I arrive on Sunday evening and I have no idea about internet issues there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I would then just make it arrive Friday or Saturday to have one day to organize my setup, right?
Yeah.
Or I would tell my client, okay, look, I'm traveling. I won't be there on Monday. I have to organize my stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all about communication as at home as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally with you. All right. I'm gonna come back to Cape Town just a little bit further. Tell us, like, how is Cape Town itself, like, as a city? Is it like split to zones or areas? And what like area did you live? Can you tell us a little bit about your area?
Yeah, it is totally split. It is split in also like wealthiness and wealthiness regions and more shaky regions, honestly. You have mainly the city business district, CBD. They call that CBD. That's where the tall buildings are. I have been living there as well for a week. You have then back in the part of that part is then the main city that is between basically the Signal Hill and the Table Mountain region, and then Gardens, which is more calm. All that region is okay-ish, but you have to be more careful, definitely. And then around the Signal Hill thing, you have Waterfront and Sea Point. And Sea Point is what was actually my favorite place. It is a total bubble. Honestly, it is a tourist bubble. It's a nomad bubble. It's not South Africa and it's not Cape Town, but it's super nice. And there's a lot of restaurants there. There is a super, super good value for money. And there's a lot of accommodations, and you have the ocean right in front of your door. So I was staying there in an Airbnb, which was even a little bit laid back, but it was in a tall building. So I had actually view to the ocean. I was
Oh
seeing all
yeah.
the cruise ships and all the cargo ships passing by while I was in the meeting. And I mean, connecting to what we said before, that gives you another energy, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I was
absolutely.
maybe in a shitty meeting and then I saw like a cruise ship crossing there and was like saying, okay, you know what? Just don't care. I mean, we're in the most powerful place here. So
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I'm with you. All right. You start to talk about value for money and restaurants. So two really important things for obviously as a nomad. You care about like the restaurant, you care about the cafes and stuff like that because either you work over there or you want to obviously enjoy a little bit
Yeah.
and go out a little bit, yeah, relax. So first of all, first question, talk to me money-wise. How much pretty much the expenses in Cape Town for a nomad talking monthly?
mm. um I mean, I have been there in the most expensive season, definitely, especially when I extended my stay, because then it's school vacations as well, it's summer vacations, and Cape Townians are also like traveling, or even the South African population is traveling. Um, when I started to do my research for accommodation, when I decided to join the conference, I found a lot of really super nice apartments and really super nice apartments, even sometimes with swimming pool and whatever. For, yeah, what was that? In between, let's say, 40 to 60 euros a day, a night. But then you had like a whole apartment, right? Um, then I was like not worried that much and I let it run a bit. And then honestly, I was a little bit late because prices were rising, but it was still affordable. So you pay, I would say you can get along with a nice apartment for 1,500 bucks a month, definitely. That is doable. It always
Okay.
depends a bit on the location. It depends where you want to be. And accommodation is definitely the most
Expensive.
expensive part of life in Cape Town, definitely. When it comes to transport and like restaurants, the value for money is super much better than in Europe, definitely. I mean, you can have a lunch meal that can be Asian. I mean, there's not really the South African cuisine. There's is more like a mixture of everything. But if you go like for an Asian restaurant, for example, you can have lunch for six euros. Or you have a burger with
Six
sides and
euros.
everything, that would be 15 euros. And I mean, do that in Germany. No way, right?
Yeah,
Way.
like double probably.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At least. And the quality is amazing. The food
Oh
quality
yeah.
is amazing. It's like if they know one thing, then they know how to do barbecue. And if they know one thing, then they know how to do steaks. So that is one thing. And
That's
then you
amazing.
have a lot of even in Sea Point, you have a lot of restaurants that are like catering for the vegan cuisine or
Yeah.
vegan people. And then it's even cheaper, right?
Oh yeah. All right. Give us your top five restaurant. 3, 5, 10.
Oh, okay. Well, there was one that was like an Italian one that was a little bit more expensive, but super nice, Ariel,
Mhm.
the modern Italian cuisine. There's one vegan one that had helped like healthy cuisine, healthy food. What was that called? Lexi's. It's all
Mhm.
in Sea Point. Then we had a Greek tavern that was super nice, like typical Greek food. I mean, they have a lot of seafood. I'm not a seafood fan, but fish is okay.
Mhm.
Um, then we had for Christmas, for example, we had a super nice restaurant that was the Grand Pavilion, which is a little bit South African Frenchy, I would say.
Fusion.
They have a little bit of French influence.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
helped yourself. Did you ever like cooked home cooked meals? Apart, no.
I did not use I did not use a single time, honestly, this
Really?
whole kitchen that I had and so on. I mean, I was preparing salads and I was preparing my breakfast because I'm a little bit lazy in going out for breakfast, honestly. I need
Mhm.
my time to start the day and I also need to, I mean, yeah, that is
Yeah.
the part. If you go out every day, then you should also care about your health a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would not do that when coming back. I would maybe say, okay,
Cool.
let's keep it a little bit lower and cook yourself. But I mean, let's see how that goes. I mean, honestly, I have to work. It's again this thing. I have to work this 9 hours in a
Yeah,
row. So I have 1 hour lunchtime. I mean, if I start preparing something and then eat it, then it takes me 1.5 or two
It's like
hours.
yeah.
yeah. Preserve the
I
time.
So
mean,
yeah,
it's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So and then if it's that cheap, then I mean,
Yeah, why not? Yes, and experience.
exactly.
Amazing.
I mean, right now, if I'm even gonna go every day, I'm still cooking. We're still cooking, like over here in the house and everything. But
Yeah,
even if I'm gonna go to a restaurant every day, it's still gonna be cheaper than what I used to pay on grocery, regular grocery back home. So what do you try to compare it? So say, okay,
Yeah.
Let's just
Still a
enjoy it. Let's
win-win.
just enjoy it. Save some time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the healthcare thing is an issue, because always, of course, prepared food out there is not that healthy. Then you could do it your own.
First of all, so far, amazing interview. I really, really,
Yes.
really enjoyed
Me
it.
too.
Tell us your plans for 2023.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I have to kind of settle my private situation. That is one thing that kind of holds me back a bit. But I don't know yet how that goes, and I simply don't know. So I do make my plans anyways. So I would say down the road, the next 2 to 3 months are a little bit shaky. I'm not yet sure yet how long I stay in Germany. I don't want to stay here too long with the winter, but I do get some upgrades for my van. So I have to bring it to the workshops and I have to do some stuff, and that takes some time and so on. And that's all in Germany.
So you got a
So
project. At least you got a project over there.
exactly, I have a project. I mean, this is already aligned now. I'm super, super happy about that I have the appointments already. And I was thinking of visiting a friend in Lisbon, honestly. I do have a lot of invitations already of those nomads that I met in Cape Town. Some of them are going in March to Madeira. So that was one thing, like maybe visiting that friend in Lisbon and then hop over to Madeira. So
Wow.
like
That
I want to
that's
do van
amazing.
life because I want to experience van life for at least 3 months in a row to see if that's my style as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
I ran some like I did some van life in Australia.
Oh,
Um yeah.
good
So
rides.
that was amazing. I mean, it's kind of, I'm not sure if my back can actually handle it right now when I'm like 10 years after almost. So I'm not sure about it. It have to be like super comfortable and like super, I believe that you have something like super like top class and stuff like that. But it is like experience. Like if you think that nomad free, like doing van life, running full on van life for 3 months, it's completely like no strange and completely free. You can wake up every day in different beach or different area. Wake up one day in the forest, one day in the mountain, one day in the city.
Yeah.
Tips for nomads that just starting
Yeah.
I
Or
would
wants to
say,
start.
yeah,
and
if you're
wants to
interested
start.
in that lifestyle, then try it out. I mean, you don't have to tear down your base at home. You don't have to leave the country like lots of nomads do. I'm still registered in Germany. I pay my taxes in Germany. Yes, that is
Yeah,
shitty,
same.
but I do it.
Yeah.
So you can keep your base, rent out your apartment, maybe really rent it out, like sublet it, because
Kick
then it
yourself
makes
out.
you feel like it's gone, right? It's a psychological trick.
Yeah.
Rent it out for half a year and then just travel and try to work. And I mean, if you have like a job that is permanent employment, then of course you should align that with your employer for sure. I would never advise you to just do it. I mean,
Mhm.
there's regulations. If you're a freelancer, then why not? Then just try it, and you always can come back, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody said that you have to do that for, I mean, you don't have to do it for a couple of years to be a nomad. You don't even have to do it for a couple of months. And nobody says that you are not a nomad if you're coming back for a couple of months in your home country. I mean, what is a nomad, anyways? So try it. That's the thing. Try it. And then find out if it's your point. Find out if it's working for you. If not, then come back. And it's not a shame to come back, right? So just try it
Yeah.
out.
Let's try it.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Beautiful.
And one thing that
All
stuck into
right.
my mind when Timo said is
Oh
like,
yeah, please.
why not? It's a why not
Why
mindset.
not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Exactly. Why not? Um, Love it. All right. So Timo, thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining. It was amazing, amazing, amazing interview, amazing show. Really love the energy and I love the
Yes.
mindset, and we can like I can see that you're in kind of a transforming journey right now. And
Yeah.
honestly, I we will be honored to have you come back for a live show even.
Yeah.
that we're gonna start in the future later on. And yeah, and basically, I'm sure that we're gonna have like more direct question right now that we have like something specific. I'm sure that you're gonna have like few more experience.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, thank you for my side. Thank you for having me. It was super. It was a pleasure. It was super, super easy. It was super nice talking to you guys, and I would definitely be interested in being in the live shows. So if you start with that,
Appreciate
just
it.
come back to me. We're connected on Instagram, and that's actually even a good thing already, the good point. If you want to know more, then connect and subscribe. Follow the Instagram profile of Colini Kanana. You can also follow mine, of course.
Yes.
So worth to really absolutely worth to follow.
So yeah, guys, if you want to know more, then just check out our profiles and yeah, follow the whole thing. I mean, live shows would be super amazing. That would be awesome, and I think we should definitely do that. You should do that, and I loved it. I really loved it, and I can just encourage others to come here and do the interview or even do the live shows then. So share,
Amazing.
share, and go out there, explore, just do it. Life is too short to stay home, definitely. And I mean, traveling is really the best investment. There's nothing that gives you more interest rates, higher interest rates than traveling. So
Just love
Amazing.
it.